Would you please welcome LeMaster?
Thank you, Connie. Thank you, everybody. It's great to be here with you. I'm so excited. I don't know how I can follow all the speakers that we've had so far. I've had so many little teardrops coming down. Oh, anyway, I'm a healer. Kind of a tip here. I had a speech. Oh, I've been working on my speech for 2 weeks. Oh yeah, right. Oh no, changing it here, changing it there. I'm on the plane and I'm doing it. Well, guess what? I look at life as a journey. And you have the twists and the turns, the bumps and the smooth and all that. And I come here and my suitcase didn't come. So this is what you get. I pride myself on authenticity and integrity. And that is my brand. Everybody says that's my brand, but how do you brand that? And I'm all the colors, so how can you put me in a box? As you can see, lots of colors. How can you put me in a box of 1 or 2, 3 colors? Nah, I'm unique. I'm old. And I love being old. People say, don't say you're old, Ann. I said, I'm old. I'm 73 years old, and I'm aging younger. And you can too. It's all in your choice of how you frame things, how you look at things. COVID was the best thing that happened to me because I spent 2 years in my garden playing in God's dirt, in His sunshine, respecting the critters out there, except the fire ants. I'm not fond of them. I live in San Antonio, Texas. The plants, the critters, I have 7 cats, 6 in the house, 1's in and out. Used to have 8, but I think something tried to get her. She got away, but she died. That was a mother of 3 of them. I'm allergic to cats. I used to give myself shots. They'll walk around for 3 days with this big red spot on me. I'm still allergic to cats. So I'm not going to take the shots anymore. I just turn it over. I'm allergic to cats. I love cats. They're in my face. I don't care. I'm sitting there. God speaks to me in so many different ways. It's your inner knowing. And I'm sitting there at my computer and Gabby, one of my first cats, sitting there licking herself. I used to work in an allergy clinic. So we're allergic to cat dander, right? And I looked, I said, Gabby, Mama's not allergic to your dander. I think of dander as dandruff, right? She's allergic to your spit. Because every time they lick, then you pet them, and then you rub your eye, whatever. So that's kind of how things come to me. So anyway, following all these people and their stories, mine is flat in comparison. But being older, I have all these experiences in life that can apply, and I can relate to pretty much everybody. Meg had the one that really tore me up. Brandy, I think yours was, anyway, everybody's was, I want to get to mine on healing because that's what we're here for. And I'm winging it because I'm not in my dress clothes, so I am who I am. I put a pendulum out there on the table for everybody, okay? This is one of my healing tools. I'm not just a typical nurse. I call myself an alternative nurse because I use anything that is needed. Mind, body, spirit. You go to the doctor when you need to. But I have 3 stories that I want to use, and if I have time, I'll teach you how to use your pendulum. I went to Edgar Casey in Virginia Beach. I took a radionics class, which is a deeper level of healing touch, which is energy work. I wanted, with the class you got a pendulum, and I wanted to have, a crystal one or a clear white whatever, and I reached in to get it, and this is what came out. And I have a story about my cat. Blackie is number 2 cat, and Gabby and Blackie were the first 2. He had exploratory surgery, and he was cut from here to here. I bring him home from the vet on Saturday, and he's laying there on the bed lethargic. So I'm at the head of the bed, my husband's at the head of the bed, and here's Blackie with his tail towards me. And the pendulum is used to check your chakras. The only chakra open was his root. That meant he wanted to live, but the rest had to get in line. So I worked on that cat, and I got his chakras to open. And while I was doing it, my pendulum did something that defies logic. And I did tell somebody once what it did, and my inner knowing says, don't tell people there's too many shysters. Somebody will use that and say, I'm a master healer. My pendulum did this, that, and the other thing, right? So I had gone to a safe place. I had gone to Peru with a group called Earthkeeper. And I was at one of their events, and I had done a healing on one of the guys. And I had shared with them. The Healing Touch community couldn't tell me what my pendulum what it meant, what it had done. But I had shared it with Derek, and Derek says, don't ever doubt yourself, Anne. You're a master healer. And I think it's funny, at 69, I was looking at my business card and I said, my last name, LeMaster, translates as the master. And I am a healer as a nurse. So I feel like I have God's healing. As a healing touch, He is the light, I am the light switch, and you are the bulb. You either take what He flows through me into you, and you use that and heal what needs to be healed, or maybe it's not your time to do that and you don't. I have no control. I just am the conduit. So anyhow, back to Blackie. That was on Saturday. On Tuesday, he's running up, down, over, under, chasing his sister all over. You'd have never known he was ever near death. Friday, take him to the vet. The vet says, wow, he healed really well. And I said, I do energy work, and I would love to work on post-surgery on your cats, because it was a cat vet. He's not interested. No, I learned, taking my cats there, expensive every time you go. He was making his car payment, his house payment, whatever, on my dime. So I am very skeptical now of the medical community, because there are so many that are in there for the money. My personal story is I have an IT band in the garden 2 years ago, in the garden, and I'm like in this position, trying to get the plants in the soil before the rain comes, so I get them in, right? And I didn't do a counter stretch, so there I am. My husband would say, I'd get up and he'd say, stand up, look like something's wrong with you. I said, I can't, it hurts too bad. So finally, okay. So anyhow, it keeps going and going. Next thing I know, I've got this horrible pain here. So I had hip surgery from a previous injury that was 22 years before. So they replaced my hip, and every year I go back, and I told him about this leg acting up. And he didn't do an x-ray. We'll do that next time. And he said, but you need hip surgery. And I said, for an IT band? Well, I don't know that I want to go back to that doctor. He did a good job on the hip, but I didn't like that attitude. So I'm struggling to find my innate knowing told me, you need massage. Okay, I found a place to go. That guy was, I'm a nurse, you're a masseuse. He didn't even want to touch my butt. Come on. And he was a little wuss of one, I wanted somebody who gets in there. Anybody knows your pain tolerance is 1 to 10, right? I'm a 13. I'm sorry, somebody's 10 and they're crying like a baby. I'm taking it at 13. So anyhow, Jimmy was there, and he's a sports massage. And he hears my story. He says, I'll hurt you. Wham! And I said, whoa, you sure will. That's what I want. So I don't know how many months I went to him, sometimes every week. And I went for an hour-and-a-half massage. And insurance doesn't pay for that. So money is gone. And I tipped him well, because he gave me back the majority of my life. But I wasn't fixed. There was something more. I needed more. Well, he moved on. So he moved. So I went back and I had another gal, and she does trigger points. And this here in my thumb, I give shots, and it's like, oh man, I don't know if I can do that anymore. And biometrics, and it's the squeeze. One treatment. Oh, no pain, it's awesome. And I told her about my other issue. She said, you need to see James. It's a sciatica. Lo and behold, I've been going to James now for about a month. And he said that I'm like this, and after he treats me, I'm going to be out like this. But your body has memory, and it's going to come back. Well, when it's here, come back. Don't wait until you're back here, because we start all over again. So I'm out here, and then about the day or two before I'm due to go back, I'm here, and yeah, it's doing wonders. So when I told the doctor about it initially, I had 3 choices: prednisone, NSAIDs, or therapy. I said therapy. And why was that the last thing offered? Right. And therapy was able to identify it, but I feel like a majority of the doctors, it's about the money, and it's about the training they had in school. So we know all the stuff. Oh, I'm getting off my course here. This is leaning too political here, Anne. But my education in school and my upbringing, being old, nature, the weeds that we have, spray the dandelions, they are unattractive. No, they're a wonderful food. Mm-hmm. And so that can cause you to heal in whatever manner, because it's good food, right? But there's so much. There's 3 stories I want to tell because vibration heals. A cat's purr. And Blackie, the one that had the surgery, he fills the room with purr. He is such a loud purr. I call him my purr baby. So you pet the cat and what are they doing when they take a nap and they're purring? Are they healing themselves through vibration? Because vibration is so apart. We can hum, we can chant. We chant Om, and I go Om, and my poor cats are like, oh, what's that? Well, that's a primordial sound. And maybe they're thinking that, oh, I got goosebumps now. Maybe they're thinking that they're going to meet their maker or whatever. I don't know. So I don't chant when they're around. I learned that with a reunion that we had for Earth Keepers a couple months back. Now, I knew about the Om, but I never really did it, so I try to do it more now. Anyway, our thoughts also can heal us. And this is a scenario, being old. I love to say that, don't I? Back in 1966, fictitious name, Mary. She's got everything going for her. She's a junior in high school. She's a vice president of the class. She's a cheerleader. Just everything going for her. And her boyfriend comes back from college and she got pregnant. Oh man, the sin of women. How could you dare get pregnant, right? Tells the family says, getting married. So now she's pregnant and she got married. She goes back to school and the principal calls her in shortly and he says, Mary, is it true what I hear about you? That I'm pregnant and married? Yes. Well, Mary, you can't come to this school anymore. You have to go across town to the ones for the bad girls and the misfit boys. So that just broke her heart. She was so ashamed. Back then, if you found out you were pregnant, family would ship you off. In Iowa, it was up to Dubuque, to the Catholic facility of some sort there, where you'd have your baby and then you'd go to see Aunt Jane, and then 3 months later you'd come back to the family. Oh, the visit with Aunt Jane was nice, I don't want to talk about it, that kind of thing. So anyway, she had the baby May of 67 and she had a boy. 7 months later, she was deathly sick. She goes in the hospital. The right kidney had dried up to hardly anything. The left one was at 50%. They gave her 6 months at most. 6 months? I have a 7-month-old baby. What am I going to do? I'll never see him go to kindergarten. I won't see him graduate. I won't see him get married. I won't have any grandbabies. How can this be? Oh, she's just devastated. And that night the chaplain comes in and starts asking her questions. The chaplain says, the question she's asking, Mary says, this isn't a typical chaplain. So the chaplain says, what happened the last 2 years, Mary, before this? And she said, I was an awful girl. I got pregnant. And she said, you have to visualize taking your child to kindergarten, hand in hand, delivering him to kindergarten, going on to your class. Then you have to visualize him graduating, and you have to visualize the marriage and holding your grandbabies. And you do that several times throughout the day. They went to check her, and 100% left kidney, and the right one was coming back. So fast forward, she ended up with a successful job helping others. So that was the power of her thought, intention, if you will. Another story, while I was in nursing school, this man was laying in the hospital dying of liver cancer. Well, if we've been in the hospital, you're there for 8 hours, nobody comes to visit because they're working, whatever, right? So what are you going to do? He takes a cell out of his liver and he scrubs it with his toothbrush, imaginary. And he puts it back in, takes another one. That's what he does all day long. Now it came time to see, well, how has it progressed? How much time you got left, right? Oh my God, there's no cancer. You're cancer free. The power of intention, asking God to come into your life and heal you, that kind of thing. But now also your thoughts can work a different way. My nephew was killed in a car accident in 1991, and my sister, my mom, and I, we talked all the time. And my dad, I don't think he ever said Matthew's name. And 4 years later, Matthew, 4 years later, my dad got glioblastoma, the worst of the brain cancers, and passed 3 months later. All the dreams Dad had for Matt were gone, and I think he didn't really have his purpose anymore. But it like ate him up, the grief that he felt that he couldn't express. So to express, and being here, talking our stories, makes us heal because we express it.
Amen. Yep.
So my father was my first patient. I had graduated in December the year before and got my license in February, and March 13th my father became my patient. And he watches over me yet. My nephew comes and touches me. My favorite song for him is Take My Breath Away and by Berlin, and between noon and 1 it will play. Not every day, but sometimes. I was sitting out in the garden one day, my favorite thing to do, and I did a video of me, no makeup, my house coat, my cup of coffee. And I said, well, this is me. Authentic? Okay, this is me. What do we look like in the morning? Woo. So, drinking my coffee, and I said, all my gratitude to the sky, and the clouds, and the trees, and the birds, and down to the critters, and the grass, even the sand, even the stupid fire ants. But I gave gratitude to God and all that is out there. And I just felt so peaceful and so alive. And I had to go somewhere, and I got in the car, turned the key on, and Berlin's song, Take My Breath Away, was on. The next day it played, and then I can't remember, the third day there was something else, and it might have been a message from my father. But anyway, I really feel that all this is within us, but we are conditioned not to believe it. I mean, all this pendulum stuff is woo-woo, and I have 2 minutes left. So, do we want? I didn't get to say everything I wanted to say, because once I start talking, you can't shut me up. So, anyway, the pendulum, you program it yourself. So if you hold it like this, and this is the way I do, so you can change it when you want. But I have it that if it's going to go back and forth like this, well, let's start first. I want a yes answer, so it's going to spin clockwise for me. So go ahead and do it. You're programming it. So have it spin clockwise, and then if it's going to say no, you're going to spin it counterclockwise. And I asked this about Mama Kitty. Is she alive? It said no. Is she out, under the shed? No, whatever. So then it can go back and forth like this, and it's like thinking about it. Can't really give me an answer yet, and kind of like not sure. And if it's still, it just won't give you an answer, or it doesn't know the outcome, can't tell you. And it is a true thing, because well, like I said, I had my story with Blackie, and it works. So anyway, with that, I would like to say I bless you all through God's, and I came to God really close since COVID. I believed alternative on that too, not by the Bible so much, but by nature, because nature is God. So with that, oh yes, I wanted to say this is my book where I have so many of my spiritual stories. That's why I wrote it. And believe me, there's some really cool ones in there. You got a touch of it just with what I said about Matt and my dad. And I also have Common Sense Living podcast, and I did feature Alejandro on it after I heard his story the first time. And let's see. Oh yes, and now I'm a public speaker. Yes, and I did all that in less than 10 months, let's say, last year in 2020. So at 72 years old, and so now I have blossomed. So my sign off for my Common Sense Living is Toodaloo.
Whoa, you are such a joy.
I'm an entertainer.
The first time I heard her speak, what was?
Oh, it was my first sticker shock.
I know, but what was his name that sat on your shoulder? He was a monkey?
Oh, Lamb Chop.
Lamb Chop.
Yes. Because I got into it. That's the thing. You say yes to something, right? Holistic Chamber of Commerce, November of 21. I'm sitting there, and this girl comes up to me, and we talk a little bit. She says, Ann, I've got a great opportunity for you. You need to try this. And I'm, okay, I listen, and I say, well, I don't know. Well, it's something about speaking, and speaking is a good thing for people to learn, and, can always grow from that. So, yeah, it's a little pricey, but yeah, sure, I'll do it. So my thing is, you have an opportunity offered. You could say yes, you could say no. You say yes and you grow. You say no and you say, woulda, coulda, shoulda. What would have happened? What could have happened? What should have happened? But I said no to it. So no, that's when I bloomed. And I gotta tell you, I am the happiest in my life I have ever been. This is my avenue to be able to speak and touch hearts and have people grow. Oh, look at that, I'm giving another speech. I said it's hard to shut me up. So anyway, any questions?
Thank you, Ann. Yes. Oh, isn't she amazing? She just encourages me.
Yeah, I just never shut up.